welcome to our SBSS series. Today wait a minute, our guest is Meredith, correct? What was your business as well? What was Meredith's business?
EOS Worldwide.
EOS Worldwide. And we'll let Meredith tell a little bit about herself after we go ahead and get started. But for now, I'll pass it over to David so we can go ahead and begin. Thank you, David.
Good morning and welcome. If you're here for the fire and brimstone sermon, you're in the wrong room. Today, we are welcoming you to the Washington County Chamber's Small Business Solution Series. We have a really great program today. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize our 2025 Small Business Solution Series sponsor, David Yassa, the Growth Coach of Greater Portland. Here today to tell us a little bit more about the Growth Coach of Greater Portland is David Yassa. David, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay.
Spotlight.
Yes. It's interesting because it seems that today you guys are talking about vision, and it seems that Meredith has a small workshop to introduce. Is there a way I can share one slide with you guys?
Give me 1 second, see if I can make you a co-host real quick.
If you just want to highlight the
try now, David. Go ahead. Try now, David.
Sure, we'll do that. Okay. Just give me 1 second, please. We're not gonna go through all of this. So what do? I am a business coach. I help businesses discover where they're at and where they want to be, and then we walk through the journey of growth through structured processes. That's what I do, and this is where my passion is. One of the things that I do, I work with business owners on leadership, and I think the attributes of great leaders are being self-reflective and authentic. Second one is create and communicate vision and goals. Third one is build environment to drive success. We are in the beginning of 2025. I believe you cannot start the year without having your eye on the end, and the end should always be your destination, your vision. The vision is usually the core values and purpose. What's the core values of your business? What's the purpose of your business? And visions should always be facing the inside of the company, which is how something that excites and galvanizes groups to achieve what you have in mind, the vision of your company. And
that's really
I'm sorry.
That's really great, David. I don't think we have a lot of minutes to.
Yeah.
Delve,
I thought I get 3 minutes, right? No.
Yes, 3 minutes is correct.
Yeah. So do I have 1 more minute?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. So I believe that we just need to sit, reflect, and plan. Come up with a vision, communicate that vision with the team members, seek their feedback, and then gain commitment for that vision. That's what I think we should start during the beginning of the year. And the most important part is reflecting and planning for where you want to reach by the end of the year. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. It sounds like you add a lot of value to your clients, and that's really well needed in this environment. So we appreciate your support for the Small Business Solution Series, and your support of the Chamber is truly appreciated.
Thank you, Dave.
Our Small Business Solution Series program this morning is focused on achieving your vision for 2025. Here to help us unlock those secrets and achieving our dreams for our business in 2025 is Meredith Berg. Meredith Berg is an EOS implementer with an MBA and firsthand knowledge of implementing EOS. EOS is called Entrepreneurial Operating System. There's a book called Traction. I know in my business, I hand them out like pancakes because it's such a great way to get your arms around your business. Meredith has the pleasure of growing up in an entrepreneurial household, which initially launched her passion for business. After graduating from college, she gained experience working for several Fortune 500 companies, highly focused in the financial sector, doing everything from strategic development to project execution. Eventually, running programs with multi-million-dollar budgets. Over her 24 years of corporate life, she has had an opportunity to hold leadership roles in many areas of business, including strategic planning, marketing, operations, digital, omni-channel, and project management. Meredith, the floor is yours.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to take a moment and reflect where we're going in 2025. And David, well, we have two Davids here. The leadership coach here. I'm a leadership coach. Looks like David's also a coach, and I appreciate kind of the setup for this overall discussion, because it really is important to plan where you're going for this next year, right? And so we're just going to take a few minutes. I'm going to give a presentation, give you a little bit of background, and is it Wilkins? David Wilkins, thank you for the discussion about the Traction book. It's definitely out there. It's exciting to hear that you find value in that as well. I think a lot of people have, and so I hope that today in one of these tools, you'll find value in what I share today. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, can everyone see that? Okay, and hopefully Deanna was able to provide you with some, I provided a document so you could kind of utilize it as we continue forward here, but EOS is a proven process with some simple tools that really help businesses and how they operate. So that's what EOS is holistically. I'm an EOS implementer. So similarly, I'm a business leadership team coach where I go and I teach on these tools. I facilitate within the room, and then, I coach along the journey. So today I'd just like to give you a brief background about EOS itself in regards to how it got started, what it is, and all of that. I'd like to do a real quick brush around our model. The reason I say this is because the vision is a big component within our model. And then the Vision Traction Organizer is what we'll utilize today to really have a little bit of workshopping in regards to where everyone's headed for the next year. So EOS, we're all about keeping it simple. And in regards to EOS, it was created by a lifelong entrepreneur. His name was Gino Wickman. And what he found is at the age of 21, he knew he loved the entrepreneurial environment. He was asked by his father to come and help with their company, which when he got there, he found it was in need of a turnaround. So he worked to turn that around for 3 short years. Then he ran it for 7, and he transitioned out of that business. So as he transitioned out of the business, he found that he just really loved working with entrepreneurs. He was one of the first founding members of the EO Detroit chapter. That's really a peer group of CEOs where they share, what's making things go well and what's maybe not going so well. And he started cobbling together all of these true and tried principles. So out of that became EOS. So EOS, it's not a silver bullet. It's not this, unicorn out there. It's really true, tried tools and processes, and he's just pulled them all together. So that's how EOS got started. And what we do as EOS implementers is we do three things. We help companies with their vision, traction, and healthy. Vision from the standpoint of getting everyone on the same page in regards to where you're heading, how you're going to get there. Traction from a standpoint of instilling discipline and accountability in an organization. And then healthy is really helping the team become open, honest, vulnerable, because often leadership teams are not. And we say, as goes the leadership team, so goes the remainder of the organization. So ultimately, we have everyone aligned on a vision, executing on that vision with discipline and accountability, and having a really great time along the way. So that is what we do as EOS implementers. With all of that in mind, we know that every business owner wrestles with hundreds of issues all at the same time, right? There's just lots of things that come and it's bombarding to us. And to what degree we can strengthen each and every one of the 6 key components of the EOS model, those just start resolving themselves, because at the root cause of the issue is somewhere embedded in this model. So I'm just going to give a brief run around the model, and then we'll get right into our Vision Traction Organizer, which is something that will help you with your 2025 planning. So the first is the vision component. And, simply said, this is getting everyone in an organization aligned in regards to where you're heading and how you're going to get there. The second component is the people component. Without great people, you simply can't achieve your vision, right? And every organization, they consider their great people differently, right? It's unique to an organization. You're not going to see the same top quartile, A player, superstar, whatever you want to call them, in the trailblazers that you're going to see at Oregon Ballet Theater. They have a very, very different culture. The third is the data component, and data is simply about making decisions on information, facts, figures, rather than the subjectiveness that often takes place in a young entrepreneurial company, right? Kind of that ego, your gut feel, however you want to call it. So once you have the vision, people, and data really strong, the organization becomes transparent. And out of that, your opportunities start presenting as well as your issues. And so our next component is the issues component. This is just getting to the issue, resolving at the root cause, so it's gone forever. So it just doesn't keep coming back up. If you can't get it to the root cause, they continually represent, right? The fifth is the process component. And the process is about doing something correctly the first time within your organization. This allows for consistency, allows for scalability, a lot easier to manage, often more profitable, and a lot more fun along the journey. And then the fifth is the traction component. The traction component is where you really get to work executing on your vision day in and day out. And so behind each one of these 6 key components are the tools and disciplines of the EOS model holistically in our process. And so today I show you this because we say vision without traction, well, it's hallucination, because you've got to be able to execute on a vision to actually achieve that vision. So very important that we tie those two together as we talk about our 2025 planning. So with this all being said, the first tool in the vision component is what we call the 8 questions. And the 8 questions are simply this. And hopefully, Deanna, you were able to provide them with their Vision Traction Organizer via email. So I've sent this out so you could, do as we do the workshop, kind of think about it, put some things in as we go through each and every one. But our 8 questions are: what are your core values? What's your core focus? What's your 10-year target? What's your marketing strategy? And what's your 3-year picture? That's 5 of the 8, and that's on the vision side of our vision traction organizer. On the traction side, we have what's your 1-year plan? What's your rocks and what's your issues? Really getting those issues out of your head and onto a piece of paper. So we're going to dive into each and every one of these uniquely. And the first, and David, I think you stated this when you were presenting in regards to some of your things, right? What are your core values? Core values are very important. You discover them for one, you have to define them for 2, and then you need to live and breathe your core values. So what are core values? Everyone's heard the term core values, right? They're really a set of timeless principles that guide you, right? They're it's the characteristics that you want exhibited within your organization. And they need to be true to your organization, not something that is aspirational or something you're hoping to be true or that's just been created over time. No, they need to be true to what that culture is within your organization. Because ultimately, you want to reward, recognize around your core values as well. You want to attract people with your core values as well as repel those that may not fit your core value. So with that being said, I'd like you to just take a couple of minutes and jot a few of your core values down. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes.
And Meredith, just so you know, I did attach the document in chat, so anyone that didn't receive it by email can download it here.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. And as you're all thinking, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of core values. Now, these are some larger companies, but here's Spotify. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Spotify. Theirs are innovative, sincere, passionate, collaborative, and playful. So when you think of Spotify, that resonates, right? Here's Amazon, customer obsession rather than competitor focus. Passion for innovation, commitment to operational excellence, and long-term thinking. I think you can all relate to that when you are thinking about Amazon. All right, let's go ahead. I hope that was enough time for all of you. Let's go ahead and move forward with core focus. So core focus has been called all sorts of things. It's been called a mission statement, a vision statement. Stephen Covey calls it the voice. Jim Collins calls it the hedgehog concept. We at EOS call it core focus. And we say that because we really feel that it has to come from your core. It has 2 pieces to it, your why and your what. Why are you doing this business? What's your purpose, your cause, your passion for having this organization, right? And then your niche, what do you do best in the industry? And when you really focus on those 2 things, that's your core focus, right? It's got to be bigger than money. So I'm going to read a statement that came about through an interview with Charlie Rose and Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple at the time. And it was a quote that Steve Jobs brought forward often within the Apple environment. And he said, he'd say to us, it's easy to add, it's hard to stay focused. And so the hardest decision we make are the things not to work on. And if you think about that as a business owner, things come to us all the time, right? The new ideas, there's several every week, but we really have to stay true to our core of what we are best at and why we're doing what we're doing. And that's our core focus. So I'd like you to take a couple of minutes and think about your core focus. What do you feel, why are you doing what you're doing today, and what are you best at in the industry? All right. Well, I hope that was enough time. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next question, which is, what is your 10-year target? A 10-year target doesn't have to be 10 years. It can be 5 years. It can be 30 years. But where are you wanting to go long term? That is the question. And so when you think about that, oh, I just admitted someone. I think it locked my screen. Uh-oh. It did. Oh, there we go. When we think about that, it's just that number one goal, right? Where are you headed? What are you wanting to achieve long term? So take a couple of minutes and think about that. And I will say on this can be the big goal, right? I mean, this needs to be like one where it's a stretch goal. Don't be putting something down that you don't have to work for. Okay. I'm going to move forward. So the fourth is a marketing strategy. And again, we're very high level. So, this is where we're just saying, what is our marketing strategy? What is that target market that is our ideal client? And when we say that, that's to get our best return on our marketing investment, right? And so the target market is defined by three things. It's your demographics, your geographics, your psychographics. So demographics, what do these people look like? Are they business to business? Are they just regular consumers, personal, not business consumers? What does that look like and who you're trying to market to? The geographics is all around where are you marketing? What is that footprint that you're leaving? So are you going across the state and marketing your product or service? Are you going nationwide? Are you worldwide? Like, who are you trying to target there? And then finally, what is the psychographics of that buyer? So what are they feeling when they come to you? I mean, if I have a leak in my roof, I am, feeling pretty stressed, right? What does that look like? What do the typical buyers of your product or service look or feel like? So that's three things: demographics, geographics, and psychographics. And then outwardly, we need to communicate our three uniques, right? What makes your organization unique in the marketplace? These are your differentiators, right? And typically, you might have one or two that is the same as a competitor down the street, but you're not going to have all three the same. It's very, very unlikely. And so you need to find what's true to you, what makes your business unique in the market you serve. And then a proven process is simply, from beginning to end, a one-pager of what does this journey, when I come and I'm looking at potentially being a customer of yours, what does that journey look like, right? This allows me to understand and what to expect as I engage in your service or product. It just kind of puts me at ease. And then the fourth piece to the marketing strategy is your guarantee. Now, this doesn't have to be a full guarantee. It can be a promise, a pledge, but something that allows people to feel comfortable, remove some obstacles from moving forward with you and engaging in your service or product. So that's what we pull together as a marketing strategy. So go ahead and take a few minutes and just kind of think about that. What are your three uniques? Do I have a proven process? Do I want a proven process? Do I feel a guarantee would be valuable in my organization? And who am I trying to market to? So I'll give you a few minutes for that. All right, well, hopefully that was long enough for all of you. Again, you can always go back and tweak and fill in where you need to. But once we know who we are at our core, we know what we're best at with our core focus, we know where we're going with our long-term goal, and we know how we're going to get there with our marketing strategy. Now we get to really put together our picture, right? And we get a little bit more detailed here of, in 3 short years from today, what do we want this organization to look like? And so we start predicting out, what is our revenue? What is our profit? And what are our measurables in regards to this? And when we talk about a measurable, it's really, what do you want to measure? Is it the number of employees? Is it the number of pieces sold or widgets sold? Whatever measurable you want to put in place that's, comfortable for you. But we start predicting out so that we know where we're headed, right? And so here we want 5 to 15 things, big picture. What has to take place in order to accomplish these revenue, profit, and measurables? What are the big things that I've got to do to truly make this a reality? So take a moment. Of course, this 3-year picture needs to tie back to that 10-year aha, right, of where I'm going long term. So take a moment and think about that. What's your revenue, profit, and measurables? And list out the 5 to 15 things that will make that a truth for your organization. All right, so once you really have that picture of what this is going to look like, right? You really have that crystal clear in your mind. Guess what? We're just going to pull that right down. It sets you up very nicely for your traction side of your vision traction organizer. This is the 1-year plan, the rocks, and the issues list. So when we talk about 1-year plan, when you've crystallized that picture in your mind, now you have this 1-year plan. And we're looking at the same predictions. What's your future date? So put yourself out 1 year from today. What's that revenue, profit, and measurable need to be this year to make that 3-year picture that you just solidified in your mind a reality, a truth, right? So here we need to really just be very conscious about 3 to 7 goals for the year. Because if we put more than 7 out there, guess what? If everything is important to us this year, nothing's going to get done and nothing is going to be important, right? So 3 to 7, what do we have to accomplish this year to make that 3-year picture a reality? So go ahead and take a minute, predict forward, revenue, profit, measurables, and those big things, 3 to 7, they need to accomplish this year. All right, we're gonna just pull this down even further. So rocks are what make this traction happen, right? Rocks are quarterly. We have the same prediction. We have a future date. So in this case, put yourself out 90 days. What's this revenue need to be in this next 90 days? What does your profit need to be? What does that measurable need to be? And then again, 3 to 7 things, highest priority. What do you need to accomplish in the next 90 days to make that 1-year plan happen? So this provides a 90-day world where you can come back to this, look at it in 90 days and that future date that you set for yourself, and hold yourself accountable, right? What did you get done towards that 1-year picture? So take a moment. In the next 90 days, what do you need to get accomplished to make that 1-year plan a truth? And then revisit this every quarter and reset for yourself and your organization where you're going. So I'll give you a few minutes to think about your quarter. All right, let's move forward with our last one, which is just our issues list. This is where you have an opportunity to put all your issues down on a single list. This is so that you have them in one single spot, because I know all of us get extremely busy. And if we don't put them down on the list, guess what? They get put to the side, we forget about them. Then we find them along the way throughout the next month or so, and then we have to take care of them. No, let's get them all listed, big and small. Make sure that we're looking at them and resolving them, right? We talked about the issues component. It's very important to resolve your issues at the root. So that is the Vision Traction Organizer. That's answering the 8 questions. It's a very simple approach to a strategic plan, right? If you build this huge 50-page strategic plan, it's very difficult to execute. And so what's our second discipline here? It's shared by all, because once you've set a plan, if you're a solo entrepreneur, great. You know exactly what's happening. But if you have even one additional person that you work with, that's part of your organization, you've got to share the vision because we want everyone in the boat rowing in the same directions to achieve the goal. And it's very important that the people that are in your organization understand what those goals are so that they can get excited about the goal along the way too, and how they might be able to contribute to that goal. So once we've done that, we've answered the 8 questions, we're very clear on where we're going, and we've shared it. Sorry, that's getting us to 100% strong in this specific vision component. So again, it's a powerful tool. Please utilize that tool. EOS is all about getting results and being very simplified in the approach to it. This is the EOS model, and this is what we feel is a very good model to use. It's a very proven process with proven tools. We have what we call foundational tools. The Vision Traction Organizer, which you're using today, is one of them. We also have an accountability chart. We really focus on, structure first, people second. Then we had an opportunity here to talk a little bit about rocks, but that's about creating that 90-day world where you're holding yourself accountable to those rocks and getting some traction on that vision we spoke about creating. We have a very specific meeting pulse that allows you to get more out of your meetings and be more efficient and effective in those meetings. And then a scorecard, right? Making decisions on information. So those are some foundational tools. Some resources for all of you. We, of course, have EOS Worldwide, and we have a full traction library. We have books specifically on the EOS process and how to execute some of those. We have not only the traction book, but a process book, and we have books coming out quite often. So it's an extensive library. We have downloadable tools that can, if you go out to our website, you can download them and use them. We have a base camp, and those tools are completely free to you. We have a base camp where if you are like, oh gosh, yeah, I like the operating system, but I want to do it all myself, there's a base camp option. We also have EOS implementers, such as myself, where I come in and I work with teams to actually implement EOS and change how they're operating to get more efficient and effectiveness and, achieve the goals that they're looking to achieve. So there's all sorts of resources. I just want to make sure you're aware of them because there's all sorts of options. So the final thoughts is to choose a system, right? You got to have a system, a common language, something that you're all agreeing upon. And we feel EOS is a great system to use to get more out of your business and get what you want. So that's the final thoughts, and that's about EOS, a little bit about me, and a little bit about how to create a vision for this next year. So I'm going to open it up if anyone has any questions or thoughts or, oops, sorry.
That's all right. I was just going to ask for questions.
All right, I think I'll start with the first question. Meredith, do you have an example of a business that you've worked with that has used the EOS framework and successfully implemented it?
Very good question. Yes, I have. In fact, I'll give you my background of how I even learned about EOS. So my sister was running our family company. We had a heavy equipment rental company. We had 3 locations, and she asked me to come and help her run it because it was running her. She wasn't running it any longer. And so, she had received texts late at night asking questions. If a manager of a location was gone, she had to go and correct that. Often she'd stay there for a week. She even had occasions where she was living at a different location for a couple of months, trying to get things back to normal. So, she'd go on vacation, and that was super stressful because they were all calling her. So she asked me to come and help. We implemented EOS in that organization. So I got there, we started looking at things to potentially strengthen the organization. We began implementing it. We were looking to grow and scale the business. And we got it super strong. We had a leadership team and the organization was really humming quite well. And this was through actually even the COVID years. And we started organically getting unsolicited offers, acquisition offers for the organization. Ultimately, we did end up selling that organization, and that is why I moved into becoming a full-time EOS implementer, because I saw such success in my family's business. And, often smaller organizations, they just don't have the framework that you, because you're working in the business so much, you're not working on the business, right? And so this is that transition of taking an opportunity to work on the business. And so it's very simplified approach because, again, we don't have, as business owners, especially small and medium-sized business owners, we're so busy. We don't have time to just sit around, we have to be very effective. So this simple approach, very streamlined, very proven, that's why I went this direction. Yeah. So.
And are there some common challenges that businesses face when trying to implement this system? And if so, how do you help them overcome it?
I would say from an implementation, not so much. I would say common just theme in general for business issues, people. Right? So, how do we overcome people issues? We really need to work on culture. We really need to work on our health. We need to, what type of organization are we trying to be? We need to be real clear because it attracts a certain person, right? If you have a strong culture, you're attracting that desired characteristic that you want exhibited. And so finding the right people, I'd say the structure, the accountability chart is a huge tool for many organizations, really defining what that looks like. And so I work with a full leadership team. I don't do one-on-one counseling, and I don't call it counseling, but business leadership type work there. I work with the leadership team implementing this specific process.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I have one. Hi, Meredith. So do you work with solo entrepreneurs, like small businesses? Because for example, my business is just me, myself, and I. So that's just
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. This business, this process is really designed for 10 employees up to 250. That's how he designed it. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't go beyond that and doesn't go underneath that, right? From a people perspective. But I think ideally it's designed for that. As a solo entrepreneur, you can certainly utilize some of the tools and it can be very effective. I do have another, Gina Wickman has created another process for smaller organizations under, that 10 mark that has been really effective that I've seen others utilize, and I can certainly introduce you to that. But EOS, you can utilize some tools. I just say, when you're looking at an accountability chart, it's just you, right? So I use the tools as a solo entrepreneur myself, but to have someone like me come and help you with that, it probably doesn't make sense.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But everything's, those tools are free and downloadable. So, certainly use them. They're simple.
When you say downloadable from the website?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any other questions?
Just so I can share to chat real quick, was that website eosworldwide.com?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And you can go, if you ever want to contact me specifically, you can go to my website, which is, I can put it down here in the, you can contact me via email, and I'll also put my specific website in the chat. Hold on. Here's my email. Nope.
Are there any other questions for Meredith? We're getting kind of close to our close time here. Well, thank you much, Meredith. This has been great. I have seen this implemented at various places. I've got my dog-eared copy of the traction book, and I recommend everybody to pick up the book and get it. I don't recommend everybody implement it on your own. It's kind of like representing yourself in a criminal case. You can do it, but probably not very well. So, so shout out to you. Our next SBSS program will take place on Wednesday, February 19th. We'll have a panel of experts helping you deal with conflict resolution, including negative reviews, angry customers, employee disagreements. We learned today that people is the number one asset and the number one issue that most businesses have. So this is timely to do on the heels of the EOS presentation. Again, that's Wednesday, February 19th at 10 a.m. Thank you again for our Small Business Solutions Series sponsor for 2025, David Yassa, the growth coach of Greater Portland. And thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you next month.